Hello, everybody. Happy Tuesday. Hope everyone is having a great start to the week. I know I am, so I hope you are as well. Today, we have a very fun webinar planned for you all because it's getting to talk about reporting. Now, the goal of Sectors Made Simple is not to tell you how to invest, it's to give you tools to invest your way. And as I said in last free webinar, where I discussed why Sectors Made Simple became a thing, I shared with you all that the goal of the matrix is to be one piece of a bigger puzzle that just saves you time. So today I want to share with you all something that I know our beta testers used a lot to save them time. So many of you have seen this because Berta shared it a little bit, but they have given me their blessing to not only give you a link so that you can use the spreadsheet for yourself, but show you how to set it up so that you can keep track of sectors, not only how the matrix is doing, but how the momentum tables are changing over time, who our leaders are and how they're changing over time, and keep track of it all in one very easy to follow way. But before I get started, I just want to say hello to everybody. I see some familiar faces: Adelita, Emelida, Eddie, Juan, Francia, Kike, Mayra, Yaniel, Chela, Emelise, Francisco. I believe Emelida, no, someone's first time is today. Who was that? Francisco. Bienvenidos y gracias por estar aquí con nosotros. So hello everybody, it's an absolute pleasure to be here with you all. As I'm going through this spreadsheet, I will do my best to give you the explanation of how to set it up, but the maestras del página are here with us as well, Mayra, Vero, and Berta. So I have to thank them before we get started for being the creators of this spreadsheet. I can only share this because of their generosity, and I know how to set this up because of their teachings. So thank you to the three of you powerful ladies for creating something so useful, and I'm honored to be able to share this with you all today. So before I get started, I'm going to send a link in the chat so everyone can participate in this, and you can follow along if you would like. So let's see, does that work? Awesome. So that link will actually let you create a spreadsheet of your own. So when you code the spreadsheet, you're not going to be able to start editing it. You will have to go up here to File, and then click Make a Copy. After you click Make a Copy, you will then be able to save your own version of it so that you can make one on your own. But to help you understand how to do it and make it simple, we're going to do today's entry together. So let us get started. So the goal of this spreadsheet is to track over time how the matrix is changing, who our leaders are, and where the opportunities may emerge. So we first have to start off on the far left, which is the basic information that we can get from the matrix. So if we were to start off at the matrix, the first thing we would do is take a picture of this table. So I'm going to do that by using a program called Giazo. It allows me to take a picture, and then it gives me a nice link that I can copy and paste this URL instead of needing to have a picture. Now, if you would rather take a picture, and you can do so by just grabbing a picture, and you can paste that in as well. But I tend to find I like having the links. It's a little bit easier, and you get the full image whenever you click on that link. But it's whatever works best for you is what you should use. Then here under date, we're going to put today's date, which is the 27th. 29th. Time flies when you're having fun. And now here's where we get a little creative. So we need to find our winner for the 2 weeks, our second place for the 2 weeks, and then our 1 day and 1 week winners. And to do this, we're going to follow very, very simple rules, which is the same ones that we've discussed in our case study before. But to put them very simply, we want to go to the 2-week momentum, and we want to find sort by X count, because we want to find sectors that have an X count of 2 or more, which would be SPY, XLK, and XLC. And then sort here by positive trend to find sectors that have a positive trend of 5 or more. And how do we know who our winner is, our first place and second place? It's the ones that have the highest X count. So that would give us SPY would be our first place because SPY has 5 here and more than 2 here. So we would go ahead and write that in. We would go here and write SPY. And then our second place would be technology, where we have technology here and technology there. So we would have XLK. And now we're going to do the exact same thing for our 1 day, where we want to see our 1 day momentum, where we have XLC and XLK. And because these both have 2, we need to figure out which one do we want to write down. So we choose the one that has the highest. If both X counts are the same, we choose the one that has the higher positive trend. So that in this case would be technology at XLK. So we'll go ahead and write that in the 1 day. And then the same thing for the 1 week. We'll go here and set our momentum table to 1 week, sort by X count, and now we only see that there is one sector, SPY. So that is going to be our 1 week leader. Awesome. So now we come to the market status. This is our A in Be a Profit. It is how is the market doing? And now we can get this piece of information from 2 places. Sometimes they will agree, sometimes they'll disagree. And I'll explain why in one moment here. So the first place you can get it is the simplest place, which is the matrix. SPY is going to be the S&P 500's bullish percent index. So under bullish percent, we can see SPY is at 46.3 in a column of O's. Now, that is just the S&P 500. What if you wanted to say, I don't just want the top 500, I want the entire market? Well, that's where you have to go to our lovely location, stock charts. In stock charts, you go to charts and tools, scroll down to our perf charts, candle glance, and then under predefined charts, we want to click on major bullish percent indexes. So I will do that, which gives us these crazy lines. We don't want this. We want to see our lovely game of tic-tac-toe with our X's and O's. So to do that, under period, we're going to click on P and F traditional. And then this will give us different bullish percents for different markets, where we'll have anything from the NYA, which is the entire New York Stock Exchange. We have other ones such as OEX, which, if I recall correctly, is the NASDAQ 100, S&P 100, my apologies. We have NDX, which is going to be the NASDAQ 100, so on and so forth. So we have a number of them that we can actually look at. And if we were to scroll out, we see that we have a total of 6. So which one do we want? We want the BPNYA because that gives us the New York Stock Exchange bullish percent index. And if we look here, we are at 50.79% in a column of O's. So if we were to go back to the matrix, again, this is where it comes down to making the spreadsheet yours. You can, if you want to keep it simple and just look at the matrix, you can take the value from the SPY BPI. That's going to be all the 500 companies in the S&P 500, the percent of those on a buy signal. Now, if you want to make that broader, then you can open it up to the BPNYA, which will be all of the stocks in the New York Stock Exchange, not just the S&P 500. So we're going to take this one. We're going to take our 50.79, we'll round up 50.8. So we have 50.8, and we're in a column of O's. So when it comes to our market atmosphere, we want to see X's. We want to know that the market's in good standing. If it were in an X, we would see that the cell would be blue, whereas in O's, it colors red, telling us maybe it's a sign to be careful. Then what we want to do is we want to find our direction. So we're going to go back here to our candle glance, and here, let me scroll down. We're going to click here on S&P sector ETFs. Again, we're going to choose our period as PNF, get out of my face, PNF traditional, which gives us all of the point and figure charts for the different S&P 500 ETFs within the Spider umbrella. And you see, we have a total of 12 of them. Why 12? Because we have all 11 sectors plus the S&P 500. Now, this is where it becomes a matter of figuring out what works best for you. I prefer to come here to stock charts and just take a big picture. I'll scroll out and I'll take a big picture of the entire thing. So I get all of my screenshot. My screenshot is all of the different sectors, all in one big picture. So I'll go there and copy this link. Now this is all of the Spider ETFs. So I'm going to go ahead here and I'm going to put this under the Spider ETF screenshot. So now, whenever I want to come here and I want to see how the sectors did, we see here, you can zoom in and you can see all of them. If you want to zoom in further, you can do so, but they get a little bit blurry. So someone is asking, how do you change the chart? Very, very simply. So if you go to, where was it? Here. You can go up here to candle glance and you can change the $ SPX to SPY. And then that will give you the ETF. I use Giazo. It is a free program that you can download and it gives you a shortcut. So where Control-C is copy, Control-Shift-C gives me this little icon that I then drag as big or as small of a screen as I want. And the reason I love Giazo is because, say I take this big screenshot, I then can go up here to edit. And I can go in and I can draw arrows. I can type like this. You can do all sorts of edits that you want and then save them. So now if I were to take this link and put it in here, if I clicked, all of those changes would be on that screenshot. So it's really handy if you want to make notes for yourself on the screenshot itself. Make arrows if it helps you to know where the important parts were. Leave yourself a little bit of a note if you'd like. So that is how I do that. And then what we want to put here is we want to put the direction for each of these charts. So we'll go through and we'll say, okay, SPY is in a column of X's. And we're going to go ahead here and we're going to change the color. We're going to change the color to blue because this is our 2-week leader. So we want to highlight our 2-week leader so we can see over time where if you were to look at this back in time, you can see this constant kind of snaking pattern of how our leader is changing every single day, where you can see some periods that we have a leader for multiple days in a row. Other times, a single day will have a leader for a single day before changing back. Okay, so I'm going to go through and I'm going to fill out each one of these columns. Again, we want to make sure that we mark, by changing the color, the 2-week leader. So we take our 2-week leader and color that box blue. So for SPY, it will be blue. And then we'll go through. So I'm going to take this and put it right next to it. So XLY is in a column of X's. Oops. XLC is in a column of E's. Es solamente para desktop, pero voy a buscar que ellos tienen un app, pero pienso que no porque es un programa que estás usando en el computadora solamente. Pienso que ellos no tienen un app. Vamos a ver. Ellos tienen un app en Android y también en Google, pero no he usado esto. Yes, Giazo is the program that I use to make these screenshots. So just to quickly go through all the headers. The matrix is your headlines. This is what did the matrix look like today? What date is today? Who our 2-week winner and second place is. We determined all 4 of these, the 2-week winner, second place, 1-day winner, and 1-week winner, by going to the matrix, clicking on the momentum table that we want to see. So for example, let's do the 2-week. Then you sort here the momentum table by X count, and you want to find where the X count is. Well, how about this? Let's take a picture. Two or more. So we want to find where the X count is 2 or more. So that is going to be SPY, XLK, and XLC. And then we can take these and we can go over to the matrix, and then we can look at this. So we want to see, remember, we have SPY, XLK, and XLC. We then want to sort by positive trend from highest to lowest, and where we wanted an X count of 2 or more for momentum, we now want a positive trend of 5 or more. So that will be XLP, SPY, XLC, XLK, I, B, and Y. So how do we know first place and how do we know second place? Well, when there's a tie for first place in X count, we then need to choose by the highest positive trend. So who's higher here? SPY or XLK? We see here that the SPY is second. Wait, what happened here? I'm confused, because didn't I put SPY as the leader before? I think I did. Yeah, I got these reversed. I apologize. So it should be, because SPY and XLK have the same X count, we want to choose the one that has the highest positive trend, or the higher positive trend. So between XLK and SPY, we see that XLK has a positive count of 7. SPY has a positive count of 5. So it would be XLK is first place, SPY is second place. Let me go ahead and fix that. I apologize. So this should be XLK, and that should be SPY. So that is how you find your leader, and we'll do that for the 1 week as well, where we have SPY has a positive count of greater than 2, or sorry, X count of greater than 2. So it is our 1 week leader. And then for the 1 day, only XLC and XLK have X counts of greater than 2. So we choose the one that has the higher positive trend, which XLK has 7, C has 6. So XLK would be our 1 day winner. Okay, now going back to our market status. This again is our A, our atmosphere in Be a Profit. It is how is the market doing? The easiest way to get this is to go to stock charts and get the BPNYA. This is going to be the entire New York Stock Exchange, the percent of companies in the New York Stock Exchange on a buy signal. So we have 50.8% in a column of O's. Again, a good atmosphere is column of X's going up. So this is not a good sign, hence why the box is red. Okay. The ETF section is where we put the direction for each one of these sectors. So if we went to charts and tools, and then we chose, so we went to charts and tools, and then our sector ETFs, our S&P sector ETFs, we replaced, this was originally $SPX, we changed that to SPY, which gives us these charts. So I'll zoom in so we can do it a little clearer together. SPY is in a column of X's. Discretionary, XLY, is in a column of X's. So we'll go ahead and put that in. Communications is in a column of O's. Technology, XLK, is in a column of X's. Whoops. Come on. Thank you. And remember, technology is our 2 week winner. So we can keep track of it. We're going to change it to blue. The reason is, when we go back in time, we can see who our leaders were every single day in a very easy to follow way. Kind of a giant game of Snake. So we're going to continue here to information, column of X's, or sorry, industrials, not information, my apologies. Building materials, column of O's, but about to reverse into X's, but still, column of O's. Energy, big column of O's. Staples, O's. Healthcare, O's. Utilities, O's. Finance, O's, and real estate, O's. Now this gives you a very good look at the market. It shows you the direction of every single one of the 11 different sectors, but also the market itself, where we see more companies are going on sell signals. We see that because of this 0 right here, or that O rather. And we see that we only have 4 of our 12 markets that are currently in a column of X's. But one of those columns is our 2-week leader, technology. Does anybody have any questions up to this point? So again, what we've done is we've gone through and found our 2-week winner and second place by looking at the 2-week momentum table and taking any sector that has greater than 2 in X count momentum and a positive trend of 5 or more. If we have a tie between X counts, we take the one that has the higher positive count. We do the same thing for the 1-week momentum and the 1-day momentum. Okay, let us keep going then. So now we come to the sector bullish percent indexes. This is where, oh, there's a question. When the column is in zeros, or sorry, O's, do you buy the column of O's, or does it mean that the company is for sale? One second. When it's in a column of O's, you don't want to be buying it per se. In my opinion, when it's in a column of O's, that means that the price is going down. Typically, you want to be looking to buy a sector or company when you have your double top breakout, or when you see, let me see if I can find a chart that's close. Let's take industrials for an example. You don't want to be buying when it's in a column of O's. You want to be buying when you go above the previous column of X's. So you'd want to buy when the price gets above $80, above this big black line. Until then, it's not a good time to buy. Hopefully that makes sense. What do the numbers next to the ETFs mean? That means the price. Or sorry, the number of companies, my bad. So this is the number of companies in the S&P 500 that make up those sectors. And that leads to a really good second point. When you look at the, well here, let me continue here in a moment. So when you look at the bullish percent here under charts and tools, candle glance, sector bullish percent indexes, when you click here and go to P&F traditional, these are these numbers use these numbers in parentheses. So when it says discretionary is 56%, that means out of the 62 companies in discretionary, 56.66% of them are on a buy signal. Now, this is a question that I've received a lot. Sometimes when you look at these BPIs, they don't add up to what you see on the matrix. For example, let's take a sector that doesn't really have a lot of companies, communications. If we look here, communications has 52%. If we go here to communications, it has 76.9%. Why is there a difference? Why aren't the numbers the same? Because many of these sectors don't have 50 plus companies, it's very hard to put a lot of weight on the bullish percent for 27 companies, let's say. So for the matrix and for the bullish percents that we have on the dashboard, we don't just use the S&P 500. We don't just use the 27 companies in the communications sector. We use the entire New York Stock Exchange when we compare our bullish percents. So when you see, for example, 52% for communications, yes, 76.9% of the companies in the communications sector are on buy signals in the S&P 500. But that's only 76.9% of 27. But if you wanted to look at the entire market, the entire New York Stock Exchange, you would see that 52% are on a buy signal. Not only that, here you see a column of X's. If you were to look at ours, using the entire New York Stock Exchange, you would see a column of O's. So it's two really good pieces of information that work well together. Because when you're buying, let's say, XLC, you're not buying the New York Stock Exchange. You're not buying every communications company in the New York Stock Exchange. No, you're buying the companies in the S&P 500. So when you're looking at sectors, or when you're looking at the ETFs for these sectors, when you look at stock charts, this is only the companies in the S&P 500. So because of that, we will take those sector ETFs, their bullish percents, so that all of this matches up. Correct, Eddie. So the BPI on the matrix takes into consideration the entire New York Stock Exchange. So it's really good for looking at specific companies because it lets you know not just the top 500, but the entire market, how that sector is performing. So when I mentioned the entire market, yes, the S&P 500, the Dow, NASDAQ, as well as the Chicago Exchange, any exchange traded company in the US market is available on the New York Stock Exchange. So again, this BPI table is the entire New York Stock Exchange and is very helpful in finding specific companies and looking at the risk of that market. But if you're just looking at ETFs, which is the point of this spreadsheet, we just want to focus on the bullish percent indexes of our sectors, of our S&P 500 sectors. So to do that, again, we're going to go to Charts and Tools and choose Sector Bullish Percent Indexes. Zoom out a little bit so we can get a nice picture of everything. Take our screenshot, copy, and this is where we're going to put sector bullish. We'll put that screenshot there. So the BPI on the matrix is a more accurate assessment of the sector, but not of the ETF, if that makes sense. Because these ETFs are by law required to only trade S&P 500 companies in those sectors. Now, some companies may belong to multiple sectors. Some may fall into two categories. So you can find two ETFs that hold the same company. That's okay. But for some markets, such as communications, when you only have 27 companies, it's very useful to know what the bullish percent of that is. But there's more than 27 communication companies in the New York Stock Exchange. Pablo, you cannot buy a fraction of an ETF. Most ETFs require that you buy at least one share of it. However, your broker may offer the ability to purchase fractions, but on the most part, if you want to go buy a specific ETF, you need to buy at least one share. So again, we're going to, because we're only looking at the ETFs right now, we're going to use stock charts' BPIs. So we get the S&P 500 bullish percent indexes. So let's go through. We have BP DISC, which is in a column of X's at 56%. And we have a bear correction. So if you see here in the past, there are different symbols that are put in so that we know when important things happen. If you want to know what these mean, you can go over here on the Notes tab in the bottom left, and you can find all of the statuses listed. So for example, here we see bear correction on, well, hey, that's today. So we're going to put bear correction. So we're going to copy that. We're going to paste that there. Information, bull confirmed. Then we go to communications, bear correction, oops, that's the wrong thing. Bear correction, industrials, no new alert, so we don't need to put anything there. All we need to do is put what column it's in, a column of O's. Bear confirmed on 22 September, that's not today. So what column are we in? Column of O's. Energy, September 11, not today. Big column of O's. Staples, no new change. Column of O's. Health, bear correction today. So we're going to put that in. Utilities, no new status, so we're in a column of O's. Financials, no new status, column of O's. Real estate, no new status, column of O's. So to go through this again, we look at the sector bullish percent indexes because this is our 500 S&P 500 companies. The percent of those that are on a buy signal. So when we're looking at this, we want to see bull confirms, which is why it's green. We don't want to see bear confirms. Just like we want to see double top breakouts in our normal charts, we don't want to see our double bottom breakdowns. So on and so forth. Does anybody have any questions here? So again, if we go here to stock charts, charts and tools, candle glance, predefined groups, scroll down to sector bullish percent indexes, P&F traditional. This is how we get our S&P 500 sector bullish percents. These will be different than the bullish percent index that you see on the matrix, because the matrix looks at the entire New York Stock Exchange, not just the S&P 500. So this is really good if you want to be looking at one or two companies within an index or within a sector. These are very good if you want to be looking only at the S&P 500, aka you only want to be looking at their ETFs. Because all of these ETFs can only buy and sell companies in the S&P 500. They can't trade outside of it. So we want to make sure that we're playing their ball game. We want to make sure that we're giving them a fair risk. Okay, now moving right along, we have here major bullish percent indexes. To get this, we do the same thing, charts and tools, candle glance. Now we scroll down to major bullish percent indexes, right above sector bullish percent indexes. We'll go to P&F traditional. And now we're going to do the same thing we just did for this, where we have BP Comp, which is the NASDAQ composite index, which is in a column of O's. Remember, first thing you check is the status. No new status from today, so we have a column of O's. BP OEX, which is our S&P 100, bear correction today. So we'll go to our notes, we'll grab our bear correction and put that in right here. NDX, which is our NASDAQ 100, bull confirmed on 24th, not today. So we have a column of X's. SPX, which is our S&P 500, column of X's, with a bear correction today. So we'll grab that. And then INDU, which is the Dow Jones Industrial Average. So that is a bear correction today. The last thing that we can fill out is the market cap or the value of these three different equities or these three different indexes. SPX is our S&P 500 large cap. So if we'd go here to point and figure charts, $SPX. And we would look at this. So we would see that this is in a column of O's. Then we have our mid cap, which is going to be $MID. This S&P 400 mid cap index, which would be in a column of X's, with a double top breakout yesterday. However, we see that right after it hit its double top breakout, it already reversed back down. Anyone remember what that's called? Bonus points if you can tell me what a chart pattern where it has a double top breakout and then reverses right back down right after the double top breakout. Bonus points if anyone can tell me what that chart signal is. If you don't remember, we do have a video on point and figure advanced chart signals where I go into that as well as many other chart signals that you should be on the lookout for. But we're in a column of X's here. And then we'll do $SML. And you got it. It is a bull trap. It takes all those bullish investors and hits them where it hurts. And here we see we had a column reversal today into a column of O's, which is going to give us a column of O's for the small cap index. Does anyone have any questions? So again, I'm going to just review everything that we've talked about. We first start off by taking a picture of the current matrix. So we know where we came from every single day. We then find our 2-week winner by looking at the 2-week momentum, sorting by X count, and then first place is the highest X count that also has a positive trend of greater than 5. If we have a tie for first place in X count, we take the winner as whoever has the higher positive trend. So that means XLK is our first place, SPY is our second place. We would do this also for the 1 week and for the 1 day. That is where we get our 2-week winner and our second place, our 1-day winner, and our 1-week winner. We then take our atmosphere piece of Be a Profit, which is $BPNYA, the bullish percent of the entire New York Stock Exchange, which is at 50.8% in a column of O's, which is not a good sign. Then we take all of our spider ETFs. To get this, we go to Charts and Tools, Candle Glance, S&P Sector ETFs, and we write the column that they are in. If they're in a column of X's or a column of O's. And we highlight in blue who our 2-week winner is. Now, you may look at the matrix and you don't have a 1-week winner, let's say. If you didn't have a winner, you just leave it blank. So keep that in mind. Sometimes you won't get as lucky as we were today, where we had a winner for every single period. So if you don't find a leader in the 1 week or the 1 day, just leave it blank and check back tomorrow. The next step is our sector bullish percent indexes, which is the S&P 500 bullish percents. We take a picture of that as well, and we find that by going to Candle Glance and going to sector bullish percent indexes. We always want to look at the status. If we have a status that happened today, we write that in the box. The codes for all of those you'll find in the Notes tab. So you go through and do that for every one of the sector bullish percents. Then, under candle glance, the next step is to do the major bullish percent indexes, which gives us 6 different markets. We already have the BPNYA, that was our atmosphere. So we take the NASDAQ, S&P 100, NASDAQ 100, S&P 500, and the Dow Jones. Lastly, we want to find the current column for our S&P 500 index, our S&P 400 mid-cap index, and our S&P 600 small-cap index. Let me share the link one more time for anybody that came late so that you can make this spreadsheet for yourself. And as a reminder, I want to give all of the credit to everything that I've talked about today to Vero, Mayra, and Berta. They are the wizards that have created this spreadsheet, and I can only share this information and this spreadsheet with you because of their teachings and their love of sharing what they've learned. This is exactly what I was talking about last Friday when I said we are a Sectors Made Simple family, because they have found something incredibly valuable that they take the matrix and use it to make this whole process simpler. But it's only the start of where they start looking. So all of this is incredibly detailed, and you see how all of this can be made in 15 to 20 minutes. So I encourage you all to take a look at this, explore it yourself. Let us know if you have any questions, if you ever find anything interesting that you would like to share. And again, thank you so much to those incredible ladies for being willing to allow me to do this presentation, as well as make this spreadsheet available to everybody. Does anybody have any questions before we end today's webinar? As a reminder, this Friday will be the orientation for our upcoming class series led by those 3 lovely ladies as well as my mother. Those classes are going to be called Inversores en Sectores. Of course, investors in sectors. And it will cover everything you need to know from the very beginning, so you can join us and learn from the very start what it takes to invest in sectors, how you actually go out and trade them, and then discuss strategies for how sector investing and investing in general can be made that much simpler. Thank you all so much for joining us for today's webinar. I hope everyone can join us for the orientation next Friday at 4 o'clock, same time, same place, where you'll get to hear from these lovely ladies what they have in store for all of you and how you all can get involved. As a reminder, for members of Sectors Made Simple, these classes will be of no additional charge. They are included in your membership. So thank you all for being part of our Sectors Made Simple family, and we'll see you all very soon. Thank you so much. Have a great afternoon, and we'll see you on Friday. Bye, everyone.